What's up? How you doing? It's me back again, Analog Attack. He's back
Yeah,
for the third time. Barney,
yeah.
how you doing,
I'm
mate?
like a bad smell. Never go away. You never truly go away.
Is this some sort
Yeah.
of world record? Third time on the same
I've
program?
I actually clocked up my fourth one with another guy the
Did
other
you?
day because we were doing like I mean, I'm not on Instagram, but I borrowed the Napalm's Instagram thing
Right.
and I've been doing ones on that. But yeah, this is the second place one. You know,
I
so
respect the silver medal.
yeah.
Well, when did we last talk? I think it was October, wasn't it?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we agreed so as not to bore
Sort of
people to
forget.
space
Yeah,
this
yeah.
out a little bit, you know. So
So what have you been
hopefully
up
not
to?
to bore people.
Yeah. You nicely dressed today.
Well, I thought, you know,
Make an effort.
you do like to be a bit ahead of the curve, you know, in terms of attire, you know. So yeah, this is the first time I worn this. I washed it and I put it in the drawer. So there's various Livehouse benefits going on
That's
right
right.
now in Japan.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, I was like, yeah. I was like, is there anything anything that I should know about? And he said, well, he knew I was after a
Mm.
bastard shirt, you know.
Uh,
And my other one just disintegrated, you know. So he's
yeah.
like, yeah, bastard are doing this shit. So I was like, fucking get me one. I'll PayPal you the money, you know.
Brilliant,
So
brilliant. I'm thinking
yeah,
that might be for that little place, El Puente in
I
Yokohama.
think
I'm
it is.
thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Al Puente. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Did you watch? Did I send you the link that the systematic death? They're doing a
No,
documentary online of their US tour from 3 years ago.
no, but please do.
I
Yeah, I'd like
will.
to see that.
It's a lot of fun. But the captain
Yeah,
is
yeah.
in good
Captain up to
form.
his tricks. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like Captain. Like, got a lot of time for Captain, man. He's a really nice guy, man.
he's
You
a
know
good
what I
bloke.
mean? So,
Yeah. So I'll send you the link for that later. So.
yeah, I miss Cat. And now you see, now you're
So,
starting.
sorry,
I'm tearing up
I
here,
did
man. You
sort of
know.
promise not to talk,
Yeah.
about Japan, but
See, if it was this time of year, I'd
yeah.
probably be sitting in maybe Thrash Zone, but there's other bars as
Oh,
well,
you even
and
get a me
probably
card
sharing.
because I want to go to Thrash Zone as well. Yeah,
Yeah, mate. Well, I'll tell you what, it's such a good place, you know. It's such a happy place, you know, and for friends meeting, you know,
it
and
is.
it's just it's a good place, man. You know.
Actually, I'll give it a bit of a plug because people might not sort of might not know what we're talking about. It's a place called Thrash
Yeah,
Zone. It's a craft beer place in Yokohama. It's
yeah.
run by a
Punk
sort of
themed.
hardcore punk bloke, and it's all
Yeah,
like what's it, extreme beers is this sort of thing.
yeah,
Yeah. So if
yeah. I
you're ever
mean,
in
you know,
Yokohama,
you got to tread lightly when you go in
oh,
there, though, because the beers in there will fucking knock you into the middle of next week, man.
they
Every one of
do.
them, pretty much, you know. So,
Yeah, Koichi is his name. He's a really good bloke.
yeah, Koichi,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you're ever in Yokohama, stop by and
Yeah,
have a
please
pint.
do. I thoroughly recommend it, you know.
Yeah,
And there's other places as well, you know,
yeah.
but that one I spent many a night in of and trying to get back to Tokyo from there was
Oh,
not an
yeah.
easy thing after
I
being
can't
in there
say.
for a couple of
Yeah.
hours, you know.
Oh, yeah. So, mate, just before I came on air, I was just sort of warming up because I'm talking to Dave Whitty tomorrow, and I sort of
Yeah.
pulled this out.
Yeah, Discordance Axis. Yeah.
I'd forgotten sort of what an amazing record this was. Like,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm talking
Many
to
years
Dave.
old now as well, you know.
It's from the mid '90s, but no, it's sort of got these King Crimson sort of riffs in.
Yeah. It was very ahead of its time, actually. I mean, you know, bands were always a bit reluctant to mix things like,
Right.
you know, not noise and grindcore or whatever you want to call it with, you know, more, I guess, quote unquote progressive elements, you know, but they were kind of ahead of the curve a little bit, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm talking to Dave tomorrow. I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
that. I'm going to grill him on that.
Yeah.
Barney, I know
Under
you
Attack. I'm
under.
going to mention it now while we're on.
Yeah,
While we're
one
on.
more time. Yeah.
Yeah. So Dave Whitty, like coincidentally, played me a band yesterday called Under Attack, which I had never heard before, and I probably should know about them.
Yeah.
But they're doing a split with Scene Red, which, if everybody's not quite clear, is the spin-off band from Lamb once Lamb basically finished. So they're doing a split with them, and I heard it yesterday. I literally got it via WhatsApp from Dave Whitty.
Yeah.
And it's fucking really good stuff. So it's my endorsement for this session. You know, it's under attack. You know,
Under Attack. I'm going to ask him about that tomorrow.
Yeah.
So Barney, I know you don't do social media, which I'm a bit sort of jealous of in a way, because I'm a bit not addicted to it, but I do.
Yeah. No, I get it, mate. But you could also say that I'm perhaps missing out on something because I don't do it. You know, I'm sure there's lots of stuff that we even talk about here that I'm probably not seeing. You know.
Yeah.
So I just do it. I just don't do it because I don't have the time to dedicate to it. You know, that's why I'm not scared. I'm not like intimidated by it. I just don't have the time to give to it, basically. You know.
So I was just wondering. I knew that, so I was wondering. There's a couple of things that have been going on this week that have been sort of hot topics.
Yeah.
Social media in the sort of punk world.
Right.
One of them revolves around this record. Gizm.
Oh, Gizm,
It got reissued. It got so the Gizm record got reissued by Relapse.
By Relapse, I think.
By Relapse Records, and there's a lot of talk about it, and it was sort of came out of the blue. And so what happened is you can see they've got this sort of obi, but it's not an obi. It's just a piece of cardboard that they've glued on.
Yeah.
And they did it to cover up the swastika. The swastika.
Yeah, the swastika. On the original. Yeah.
But what happened in the end was no printer in the States would print it with this on anyway. So if you peel off that piece of cardboard, there's just a little blank circle.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of talk about censorship, basically, was the topic.
Yeah, this is a good. And I would be in that camp, you know, because here's the thing: you cannot erase those negative things from history if you just redact them or you block them out. That's you only learn from the past if you are aware of the past. You know what I mean? So that kind of censorship to me is not necessary. Now, there is a certain caveat to that. So in Germany, for example, it is illegal to have those symbols. I don't agree with that law because I think if you block it out, you're not going to learn from it.
Right.
But obviously, if you don't want your records to be completely withdrawn from any particular country, it's a balancing act. You know what I mean? So, but in principle, I don't agree with that redacting of that symbol. You know, I just don't think it's. You know, we can't be against censorship and then encourage it. You know what I mean?
People are sort of saying what other punk records have, you know, the swastika, and there's like the Doom Police Bastard has
Napalm Death, you know.
Right.
Also,
I mean, so like, but apparently no printer in the States would actually print it in its original form.
Maybe because there might also be a thing that they don't understand the context of it. You know what I mean? They don't understand that these are, by their very nature, anti-fascist bands. You know, so they probably see the swastika and they don't get the context of it. So I do actually understand that. You know, I do. You know, I do. Being a logical person, I understand why they would not see the context of it. But if you were to censor it, knowing that, then that to me is a little bit. I don't understand that personally, you know. So
so that's why they made that sort of cardboard to cover it, but then they wouldn't even print it anyway. So so that was a big. Everyone was talking about that last week on social media. One of the big sort of things.
I mean, I don't know what was the general consensus.
There was all sorts of things about, you know, they should, like you said, it shouldn't. You know, they should have just left it as it was, and But and actually, it kind of ended up being more about, you know, why did Relapse get to reissue it and the sound quality of the record. And I mean, this is social media, so the conversation goes in many directions pretty quickly.
Sure, of course. I personally don't have a problem with Relapse reissuing it. Me personally,
me neither. No, but so that was the thing that was going on, and there was another thing. I don't know if you know about this. Miley Cyrus, the big singer, Billy Ray Cyrus's daughter.
Yeah.
So she appeared on TV in the States, and she was wearing a Plasmatics T-shirt, and she was sort of looking a bit punky And her
Right.
her guitarist is wearing a Nausea t-shirt, the old New York band.
Oh yeah.
And so there was a big, hoo-ha
Was
about.
it? I know that Lady Gaga wore a Doom shirt
Well, there's
on
that as
something,
well, yeah. And there's
and a Napalm. Also, she had like a Napalm patch or something on her jacket, as
apparently
far as I know.
one of the guys that worked in like her design apartment was just a punk bloke, and so he
Yeah,
was making all this stuff for her and sort of having a good
yeah.
time probably doing it. But
The thing is, there's a certain thing to this right now. This is where the learning thing has been for me
yeah,
over the years. You know what? You've got to be careful with this, because that's what happened to the UK hardcore scene back in the day. It considered itself to be so exclusive, you know what I mean, that it ended up swallowing itself. And we lost a really good scene with some really good ideas, because a percentage of people were not just thought it was theirs to do what they wished with, rather than accepting that these things are easily absorbed, and they should be. It should be accessible to everybody. This we're talking about. We like to project punk and hardcore as one of the freest forms of music that there is.
but there's
And if you
so
do
many
that,
rules. There's so many rules. You can't do this. You can't do that.
yeah, and that was never. Of course, I mean, don't get me wrong. There are things which everybody has to take a view on themselves. It's like, I would not sell napalm into something that with a sort of, that had a lot of things surrounding it that were damaging to humanity in general. You could say, I would not sell napalm death to a major corporation where I know that that corporation is doing things, and that's for one thing, But the natural flow of music and the natural thing that it does, it becomes absorbed into people. You can't stop that. You can put a blocker on stuff like that.
Well, it's like the gatekeepers, who are like protecting their they think it's their property. But it actually turned out that the guitar player actually did play very briefly in some New York punk bands, sort of back in the day.
I think the guy Greg Darley that looks after us in the States. A lot of people would know him if they know us.
Greg,
yeah. So Greg knows, I think, the guy that either the one in either Lady Gaga or the one that's in Miley Cyrus's band. I'm sure it's Greg that knows, and this, like you say, that is.
Well, it was funny because Nausea posted, thanks for wearing our T-shirt. We've gotten all this attention, but there were so many people saying that, that they were stealing. They were stealing from.
I don't agree with that.
I mean, either. And the funny thing about it was also the fact that she was wearing a Plasmatics T-shirt, and I remember back in the day when people were saying that the Plasmatics, weren't a real band, and now they're sort of. I don't know. It's like
I mean, we have to be really careful. The elitism is surely one thing that we do not want. I mean, it's really, it's and why not? If in much the same way as, I mean, I don't mean to sound melodramatic about this, but in much the same way as surely most of us within this general scene want a better world.
Yeah.
And so if we accept that is for everybody and everybody should have access, then why not the music that advocates that? Why shouldn't that have a natural flow into places where it might not go ordinarily? You know what I mean? So to me is the point.
Actually, it got a little bit nasty.
It can
towards her. Very nasty. Which
it can.
Yeah,
it can. It can. Yeah. And I just find that a bit sad, if I'm honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So those are the kind of things that kind of get really blown up on social media. It kind of
for sure.
So that
I mean, you can talk about. Here's the thing. I actually understand what some of the reference points are for that. So, rich pop star, rich rock star, all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But there's a bigger story there. The whole point about that is a lot deeper. It's the redistribution of wealth and resources, and that's what we all want to see. So that actually is the point about that.
Yeah.
If you yes, you can be critical of bands and individual pop people. Sure, nobody's saying you can't be, and justifiably so.
Yeah.
But they're not the answer to that particular solution. Do you know what I mean? In my view, you know.
Yeah. So that's the kind of things you're missing out on.
Yeah.
Social.
No, I'd engage in it. I'm not, you know, I feel, you know, talking and debate and all the rest of it is actually one of my favourite things, you know. So I'm quite prepared to get into it with people, but I just, you know, I just don't have the bloody time.
You can get a little bit consumed by it, you know. You find yourself.
Yeah. No, I understand.
I've been talking to people, you know, for 4 hours.
Yeah, I mean, mate, basically what it is, it's human nature unfolding. Given the fact that, let's be honest, certainly these days, and it probably always was the way, do we really interact as much as we should as human beings? We don't. So social media is the very convenient, you know, place to do that.
I mean, it's how I keep in touch with all my mates around the world, you know. That's how we do it.
Sure.
All right, mate, let's get to some sort of music. I don't know if you know, but Decibel magazine did their top 40.
Yeah, I got a copy through the post the other day, actually.
Congratulations. You know, Number one?
Yeah, sure. It's very nice, you know.
Does that mean something to you?
It's nice. You know, here's the thing. So we know, of course, I mean, this sounds like a bit of a cliche, you know, but I can't say it any other way. Napalm is not designed for awards and things like that. It's designed for ideas and music, you know, or music and ideas, whichever way, they're both equal, you know. So, but it's nice, you know, it's nice to think that people think of your art in that way, you know. It is, no question, you know. Does it influence us in how we conduct ourselves? No, it doesn't, you know, because we would just do what we do, and that's, if it sticks, it sticks, you know.
Yeah, they made a sort of top 40. I don't remember the whole list, but it's quite good. Like Drop Dead were on there as well, you know.
Yeah, Drop Dead. I didn't know. Yeah, I noticed Drop Dead.
I just talked with Brian a couple of days ago. We did an episode on Japanese hardcore.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun. So that was good, you know. Drop Dead, and then it's not out in Japan yet, so I haven't heard it. And then this is another band that I sort of wanted to talk to you about, actually. Paradise Lost.
Yeah,
they put out a new record this year.
Yeah. So I've got a long time association with them in terms of just being mates, you know.
That's what I was going to ask you about.
Yeah. So me and Nick, the singer, were mates back in like '88 or something like that. Yeah. He was trading also punk and hardcore tapes and other things as well.
Right.
And it was that old thing where you used to go down the red phone box. All right, Nick, how's it going? Yeah, how's Halifax? Yes, very nice, very nice. Yeah, what about that new demo? What about that Turvik Cadet new demo? Yeah, brilliant. Phone down. See you later then. Yeah, bye. See you later. Bye. Yeah.
I'm sure most people don't know about that sort of thing. As a flyer popped up the other day. They were sort of bottom of the bill with like Extreme Terror and
they were playing on all those like punk and hardcore gigs, you know, back then. Because don't forget, it's, if you want to put it like this, for want of a better phrase, the crossover thing. You know, don't forget there was metal and death metal bands playing on those bills in the day, you know. Good people actually, you know. Like Nick was always, to me, I was some little scrote, you know, from fucking nowhere, but they were super nice to me, you know, and I travelled around with them a little bit to a couple of gigs here and there, you know. So
I've not heard that record, but they sort of went off in a bit of, they went like a sort of mid-career, they went off in a real sort of like almost Depeche Mode. I like those records actually.
Yeah, I do as well. And actually, you know, obviously they got a lot of shit for it, but you know, at the end of the day, you live and die by your own decisions, you know. So they made the decisions that they felt they had to at that particular time, you know.
Yeah, and of course there's like the Peaceville 3, was it My Dying Bride and Paradise Lost and
Paradise Lost,
My Dying Bride.
Yeah.
It's so amazing. All those bands, they're all from the sort of same area, weren't they? Like Leeds, Halifax, Yorkshire. Yeah.
Well, not obviously. Doom's from Birmingham.
Yeah.
Even though it kind of became transplanted in Leeds, kind of Halifax kind of area, I think. Yeah. Well, that's where Stick's boat is, I think. That's where Stick's houseboat is.
Is it?
And there's a really funny thing. Stick is a boat owner. but not a yacht. A fucking canal boat, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. I was just talking to him the other day, actually. He's just reissued like the Excrement of War album that was.
Oh yeah. That's really good.
It is
that's really good as
well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just. What about like Peaceville? Were you sort of mates with Hammy or?
Yeah, I was mates with Hammy. Yeah. Hammy, there was some really funny stories about Hammy actually. He used to keep. Hammy was a huge smoker, you know what I mean? The weed and stuff. And he used to have a cigarette packet, and he'd just put his spliffs inside the cigarette packet. So rather than opening a cigarette box up and there being like filters, you know, it was just spliffs inside the thing, you know. And he used to have really bad socks, you know. Hammy did, like his socks were like the worst like smell on earth, you know what I mean? I do remember that. But now, you know, there's a lot of old tales from back in the day, you know.
Yeah, it just got me thinking, seeing Paradise Lost and, you know, on that list.
Yeah. You know, I mean, you know, it was interesting times, you know, much like we could talk about, you know, Selfish Records or any other label.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, so many sort of bands all playing on the same beat, very diverse.
Mate, it was a rich tapestry back then. And I would suggest that, you know, music moves forward, and it should always move onwards and upwards, you know, but you go hard pressed to find a scene, a general scene as rich and as productive as those days, you know, the 80s, you know, like mid to late 80s, you could say, you know, early to late 80s.
Yeah, it's interesting though, because Paradise Lost, they did do that Depeche Mode thing, but My Dying Bride, they didn't really change at all, really.
No, they did a little bit. They sort of went.
They did one record that had some sampling and stuff in it.
Yeah. But you know, more power to them. Another really nice bunch of people, actually. You know,
I think they put out a new record this year as well, mate. I think so.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't heard it. You know, but yeah. Again, nice people. You know. So.
And the other band, Anathema, as well.
Anathema, yeah. They're a funny old bunch, you know.
They went to a real sort of 80s Pink Floyd. They totally changed style.
Yeah. I mean, you can understand why, because it's similarly to Napalm, albeit on a different end of the spectrum. You know, when they did like 3 or 4 albums of just very slow, you know, sludgy. You kind of need to go somewhere next. You know, you can't just make the same albums all the time. You know, it's good for them. You know.
Yeah, I've got most of them. I like them. I think they're great.
Yeah, my ears and my mind are always open. You know. We're music. We're music lovers. Some things we love, some things we don't. You know, that's the way of things. You know.
So I was inspired by the Decibel list, so I sort of made my own list. These are the things you sort of have to do these days. Make your end of the year list, and I've got a few.
Mate, Raspberry Bulbs. Raspberry Bulbs made mine, actually.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I've been listening to that. Fuck, it's really fucking good.
When I sent it to you, you weren't quite decided yet, but I suppose you.
I listened to it a few times. Really good, man.
It's actually it makes you sort of feel a bit queasy. It's
very unsettling. It goes into so many different places. Yeah, I really like it.
I think the guitarist was in Rorschach. I think.
I think so. Yeah, because I didn't really know much about him, and then
I didn't either.
I found some info and I was like, oh, blimey, you know.
But apparently they've been sort of getting heavier and heavier as they've gone on.
I liked it. I thought it was great.
Great record. Nice, mate. Nice one. So I've got a few that I think it will spark a little bit of conversation between us.
Yeah.
These records. You know this band, the name's in Japanese, but it's Paranoid. A Swedish band, sort of contemporary band. I think you might like this band. They're Swedish, but their names written in Japanese. All the song titles are in Japanese. All the lyrics are written
what sort
in
of stuff is it?
Well, they started off as a real sort of noisy, you know, Mangle Attack, but this one is but this one is more sort of metally, almost. I don't know. Interesting band.
I must say, that cover is better than most covers I have seen. They are really,
metal terms,
metal terms.
I mean, they're really active and they put out a lot of records and
yeah.
Swedish, and yeah.
What's the name
The name of
translated
the record
into?
is Outraising Hell.
Okay.
Record.
Right.
They put out a ton of records, but on this one they did a bit of a style shift. But I just thought it'd get us talking about Swedish hardcore a little bit, mate.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to actually make a note of that. What's the band name?
Paranoid.
Paranoid. Yeah.
Paranoid, and then the album's called Outraising Hell.
Right. You know what? I'm actually writing this down, mate.
There you go.
I'm actually writing this down on the local church parish letter that I get through the post. You know what I mean? So yeah. I'm sure they'll be pleased to know that I've contributed to the newsletter in that way.
Yeah, they've got their own label. It's called D-Tact and Raw Punk. They put out loads of sort of current Swedish D-beat and hardcore.
I must admit, I
think this will be right up your alley.
It does sound that way.
Yeah. So I just thought Swedish. What are some of your favourite bands, like from the old days of Swedish bands? I've seen you wearing the Mob 47 t-shirt.
Yeah, Mob 47, Anti-Cymex, Shit Lickers, you know, on and on, really.
Yeah.
You know, Gangs.
Yeah.
I love Gangs. They don't get spoken about in as much of the same way as other bands. Fucking brilliant, you know. So.
I tell you what I've been getting into lately is that sort of it's D beat, it's sort of a little bit polished D beat, sort of like Dysphere and
Dysphere,
I've really getting into that lately. It's sort of really well produced D beat.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, somebody from what's the name of the fucking band? Wolf Brigade, actually. Got a side band, and I did some vocals on that. It's not actually the classic sweet. It's actually quite metal, but very angular and sort of quite muso kind of stuff.
Really?
But so I did a little bit of vocals on one of them. It's the guy's name's Dada. He's a drummer now.
Right?
In Wolf Brigade. Yeah.
He was drumming I've seen him about 5 times in Japan in sort of 5 different bands. I think he was in the Verucas at one point as well.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I don't know. Is Stick still drumming in the Verucas? I'm not honest.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I could drum in the Verucas.
It's your turn.
Yeah.
Sticking with Sweden. You might know this record. This made my list as well. Knife for an Eye.
Oh yeah.
From Anti-Cymex, total GBH style.
Yeah.
Really good record.
Totally. Yeah. When did that come out again?
It's this year.
This year. Yeah, I definitely know, but I've only heard a little bit of it, so
I'm thinking the cover might put people off with the Chuck Berry thing. It is a bit rock and roll, but it's very GBH influence.
Yeah, I'm surprised Charlie didn't send that to me. Actually, he's really good with that stuff, you know. So
it's pretty new. It's just come out, I think.
Yeah.
Can you see it's on Cymex Records?
Yeah. I wonder if that's what. Do you know who's in the band? It's not. It's not what Scoot's not playing in that, is
no,
it?
No, it's Charlie. And it's from that. It's I think it's a bloke from that other band. Oh God.
Yeah, mate, my memories.
I know. Yeah. It'll come back to me, but
yeah.
Anyway, there's this one. Then Charlie had another. He's got another band. This one, Vengeance by Proxy.
That I didn't know about, actually.
It's got Dennis from Doom. It's on Profane Existence.
Oh, that's the one then. That's the one that Scoot was talking about.
There you go.
You know what, mate? I'm going to write some more stuff on the church.
Write some more stuff on the church. Yeah. This is also it's a bit similar to that other one. A bit more Motorhead, maybe.
Yeah, sure.
But I was quite surprised Profane Existence put it out, because it's a bit sort of rocking for them. They don't usually. They do more sort of more.
Yeah. But I think Profane Existence has been around such a long time now. They're probably looking to. They'll probably branch out a little bit, I would have thought. You know.
There's a great song on this, Barney. I'll read it. The song's called "Crust is Back in Town."
Yeah. Well, did it ever leave town? I would suggest.
Yeah. And then, it says, the mission is to kill all the fakes. We listen, discharge, and GBH. And guzzle booze till the pigs kick down the door. So that's what you're looking at with this record.
Well, yeah. Bristol. I was Bristol '84. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was a good one. And I've got actually 2 more. Subdued. This is a British band but they sound really like that sort of heavy anarcho-punk on like Mortar Hate.
Mate, another one that's passed me by, you know, I didn't even know
It
about
sounds
that,
like
you know.
Icons of Filth and Exit Stance.
When did that come out?
This year, just a few months
Mate, I'm missing out.
Get your pen out. Yeah. It's on my mate Paco's label, but it's got that real like heavy sort of Mortar Hate Records, Icons of Filth.
Not Paco as in Paco from...
Not Paco from...
No, yeah, I was going to say,
yeah. He's got that on his label, but very nice.
Mate, I'm sure if you're endorsing it, I'm sure it's.
I just thought
you know what I like.
I'm not plugging me over this. I just thought it'd be, you know, show some good music.
No, totally, mate. Yeah. I'll drink that stuff down, man. If you know, give me your recommendations.
Yeah, it's called Over the Hills and Far Away, Subdued. And I've got one. Remember last week we were sort of talking about ELO and Journey.
Yeah.
You've got some label mates from Sweden, Horizont.
Oh, I know the name of the band, but I don't know the.
Well, Barney, they sort of started off as a real sort of, you know, retro, sort of Sabbathy heavy band. Yeah. But on this record, they've gone full on sort of 80s, sort of AOR, Queen, Yellow.
Yeah.
This is actually my number one this year.
Blimey.
Yeah, it's just
going soft in your old age, man. yeah.
Honestly, so yeah, if you know ELO.
Yeah, mate. I can just put the thumb screws on Century Media.
There you go. Send me a copy for review. Yeah.
Well, no, just to fucking listen.
Yeah. I think you'll like it. It's such a good. Just a feel good record.
Yeah. I'll give it a blast, definitely, mate.
The songwriting is amazing. It's just
mate. I'll definitely give that a spin. You know,
that was it. That was my end.
Good work, mate. Well, that's four more albums. You know.
Yeah, and then the other day, do you know James Sherry? Does he ring a bell?
Yeah. I know James.
Yeah, because he's a sort of punk bloke, right? From England.
Yeah, totally, man. Totally. He's always been.
He worked for Kerrang and Metal Hammer or Metal.
Yeah, that's right, Metal Hammer. Yeah.
I used to send him the MCR stuff, and he reviewed them in Metal or Kerrang or.
He helped me out
so much.
Yeah, mate, he's always been all about it. Yes, man.
Yeah, and we just sort of reconnected and got sort of chatting, and that sort of led me to an article that you did with Kerrang. I don't know if you remember doing this. It was a bit of they asked you about sort of certain songs, like what the first song, like you remember.
Oh yeah.
And it was a bit of a sort of list, so I thought we could explain.
Yeah, that's right. It's about a year ago or something like that.
I thought I'd sort of piggyback on the back of that and sort of have a bit of a more fun chat about it. Just not all of it. Why not? Because you said the first song you remember hearing was Hawkwind.
Yeah.
Silver Machine. I thought,
yeah.
First song
mate. I mean,
you remember hearing.
But like I say, as we've spoken about before, you know, my dad was basically my first path into the general music that we're talking about, you know. So because Silver Machine made the charts in the UK,
it did,
so it was, everybody used to listen to the charts back then, even if you didn't like pop music generally, you would still listen to the charts. You would remember, you know, in the UK. So I mean, I heard Silver Machine. I was like, and the pulsing sounds of it, you know, was something. Because I was young, I didn't know about the 60s, the psychedelic stuff, which I love now actually. But back then I didn't really know about that stuff. So Hawkwind was kind of an easy in for me, you know what I mean? And so I was just like, wow, this just sounds like outer space. That's what it sounds like, you know. And the great thing about it is that since I've been in Napalm, we recorded at Dave, the Hawkwind bass player's studio, which is Foal in North Wales. That's his studio.
Yeah. Blimey.
And it was great because much like myself, you know, he's a self-declared hippie, you know, so we really got into, you know, some really deep conversations, man, you know.
His daughter Bobby lived in Bristol. She still does. She's a Bristol punk. I used to go to all the punk gigs with her. Yeah.
Oh, blimey.
Yeah. She lives in Bristol. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So that's a fucking small world, mate.
Yeah. So it was weird the first time because I was really into Status Quo when I was coming up, and I heard Hawkwind, and it sort of reminded me of because it has that sort of whatever you call the sort of the gin. It's like psychedelic status quo.
Yeah,
but that,
totally.
Yeah.
But it's also very raw. It's very lo-fi sounding, actually.
There's almost no guitar in it, right?
I mean, the everything's very dry in that song.
Yeah.
But then on top, you add all this pulsing kind of, and it sounds very, very distinctive, So yeah.
I remember buying that single back in the day.
Yeah, brilliant.
That was good that it was like the first song that you said you remembered hearing.
Yeah, totally. Mate Hawkwind, yeah.
And then the first song I ever moshed to, from what you answered, that was the Ruts.
Yeah.
Babylon's Burning.
Yeah, mate, totally. So when I started going uptown, up to Birmingham and that, a lot of my mates were 77 punks, you know what I mean? Right. A lot of my mates were. So the places we used to go used to play that stuff. So yeah, we just used to fucking jump around, and still, what a great song, what a brilliant song,
I don't know, because I wasn't around at the time. I can't really say they're underrated. They're not really underrated, but what an incredible band. I mean, just nobody.
That whole album, basically. That whole album, that first Ruts album is fucking brilliant. The opening track, which I can't remember the name of it right now, is fucking brilliant.
Babylon, there's so many good songs in it. It's just,
Babylon's Burning wasn't the opening track, though, was it? I think there's another track.
It is on this Dope
it is.
That's something that I said.
Yeah, no, I can't remember.
Savage Circle.
Yeah, I'm getting confused or something.
yeah. Great stuff.
Yeah.
And then the song you listen to when you're angry, you said was Heresy.
Yeah.
Up to it.
Well, mate, the thing is, one of the reasons I could have chose many songs, but one of the reasons I chose that is because I just bought the remaster, which we've had conversations
that was your recommendation.
About. And it just got me going again, man. You know what I mean? For that record, so that's why I said it. But I mean, fucking what an album that is, what a band, I mean, it was one of the highlights. I mean, stepping outside of Napalm Death, I think Heresy and Napalm Death in that UK scene in those days, just absolute cream of the crop, and not to discount bands like Chaos UK, who I also really loved as well, So.
Yeah. That got me. I just remembered this record, which is Calv and Steve.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I'd forgotten about this record, and reading
I'd forgotten about that actually. Yeah.
Look at Calv on the back. He's got black eyes.
Blimey, yeah.
Fight or something.
Yeah.
That just reminded me of this record. Yeah.
And the band after Heresy, or they kind of did it. I think they did it. There was kind of a time crossover between the two, but the Geriatric Unit.
I saw them in Japan. I DJ'd at their gig in Osaka, and that was.
Oh really?
Yeah. Calv. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, but good time.
Right. Yeah.
Barney, I've sort of called this episode Harmony, Corruption, and Utopia Banished. So,
we haven't think about either of them. Yeah.
That's 15 minutes. We haven't even touched it. That's good though. So let's go back in time a little bit. But Benediction, right? So you're in Benediction.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah. I mean, Benediction was a car crash, to be honest.
Was it?
It was. I mean, it was great fun. It was just, it just kind of happened, and a lot of thanks for that has to go to Mickey, actually, the Napalm drummer before Danny,
Right.
Mickey was really instrumental in helping us at the time in terms of, Nuclear Blast, who at that point were only doing really
Japanese hardcore,
and they said, Marcus was interested in Benediction because it was very raw. It was almost punky, but it was death metal, but it was very raw, punky. And Marcus was interested in doing it. So the first album just kind of happened. I mean, through a haze of fucking alcohol, to be honest with you. I mean, it was definitely forged in special brew, that album, you know what I mean? And but it was, we did it on a budget of about 200 quid, you know what I mean? And even that was a lot.
That was a lot. Where did you
comedy studio in Birmingham? There's just no I can't even remember the name of
Right.
it. If you've got the album there, you might be able
don't.
to read it.
I've only got the second Benediction album in
Yeah.
at the moment, but yeah.
But the first album was done through this guy. This guy that owned the studio is called Pete Galt. His name was, and he was completely not knowing the music that we were doing in the studio, but he was brilliant. Like, he just thought it was such a laugh, you know, what we were doing. And you know, Mickey was going mental because Mickey was in on the sessions. Mickey pretty much like co-produced it, you know, and Mickey was going mad. He was doing fucking parrot noises, you know, when we were trying to record. Like, he did a load of we did all this mad stuff. Like, we put a load of like effects on, and Mickey used to do these like bird noises and fucking mouth clicks and stuff. And we just recorded it with all this like reverb, and we were just howling with laughter, you know, we were recording this stuff. Such a brilliant time. But yeah, so we've actually played in Napalm and SOB when SOB played.
Yeah, where would that have been?
Birmingham Kaleidoscope. The Kaleidoscope in Birmingham. So we did that gig, and it was great fun. You know, I mean, the thing is when Napalm came along for me, I'm not the person that can do two main bands at a time. Yeah, sure, I'll do projects and stuff.
Yeah.
But it turns into two bands. I'm one of these people that has to dedicate my utmost energies to one particular band. That's why I'm not like Shane. Shane does like 100 different bands, you know.
He's got a couple of records out this year, hasn't he?
He has. Yeah. Well, a couple. Fucking hell, a couple is underselling it. You know what I mean? But but I'm one person. You know, for Napalm, mate. After I've done a Napalm album, I feel fucking exhausted mentally because it has to be. You can never achieve perfection, but for me, it has to be as perfect as I can make it. You know, within my own parameters. You know, so. In terms of doing other stuff, I've just not got my compartments for like creativity tend to shrink, you know, after a Napalm album. So, but yeah, so sorry, I'm digressing.
No, digress away, mate.
But once the Napalm thing came along, I was just like, you know what, Napalm is musically, and the ideas are just almost reflect me as a person, you know, and so. Benediction, I did it for a bit, but I couldn't devote my energies to it as I had done in the past. So, you know, and the guys are great about it. They totally understood. You know, I felt sad about doing it at the time, but I had to do it. You know, I had to sort of, and they found somebody else anyway. You know, so it was all fine for me. And,
so, how long was it between you sort of leaving Benediction and getting to work on Harmony Corruption? What was the sort of time?
Well, it was a little bit of time because I don't remember exactly when I left Benediction and when I started Harmony Corruption. I mean, I just don't remember those things. But we didn't start Harmony Corruption for a good few months until after I joined Napalm, as far as I can remember. You know, I might be wrong, but
let's just show the record.
Yeah. So I don't remember the exact kind of you know, time scale as it went. But the only thing I can say is Mickey, again, another Mickey story. Mickey used to write Napalm songs. Don't forget, Mickey also wrote stuff on Scum and From Enslavement. But Mickey always used to write on a 2-string guitar. Basically, he whipped off all the other strings. Mate, it was this fucking knackered fucking 2-string guitar, and he used to stand in his in the bedroom at his parents' house playing on this fucking amp, and it just sounded like the maddest thing ever. And his parents would be shouting up the stairs, Michael, turn it fucking down. He'd be like, you'll be all right. You know, he'd be like playing this Discharge riffs, like really horrible, distorted riffs, you know, and he'd be like, you'll be all right, you know. That's really funny. You know?
That's the house that's on that documentary, isn't it?
Like Kings Norton, Kings Norton in Birmingham.
Yeah. So
that's the one.
So I guess there was sort of big lineup change, right? So Mitch Harris, Mitch came in, and Jesse Pintado,
Jesse, me, obviously. So yeah. So
you have any memories of recording this, or is it a bit?
Mate, well, put it like this. So, I mean, we may have even mentioned this before, but mate, I was so stoned when I recorded Harmony Corruption. I don't actually remember recording it. It was actually Vernon who played bass when Shane couldn't on the last US tour. Vernon was around during those sessions, and Vernon is like, he's like Cheech and Chong. He should have been the third man in Cheech and Chong. You know, that's what I think. If I say that, you'll get a picture of what he's like. So, mate, he got me so, and I'm not a smoker. I never was. But he got me so stoned. I was recording vocals. I was completely stoned. You know, I mean, completely stoned. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, for the whole duration of the vocals. You know.
Wow.
So, and I did the vocals in 1 or 2 takes on that. You know, it was really that. You know, so
this one was recorded in England, right?
No,
Morris sound. That's what.
Yeah, Morris sound. Yeah. Which is a whole nother big conversation.
Well,
you know,
because I was going to sort of ask you what was it
in
Florida and.
Yeah, I mean, you know, everybody always, there's this big thing made about, oh yeah, that's a death metal record. Well, no, it wasn't, and it was never meant to be. You know, yeah, I get it. You know that because it was recorded at Morris Sound, it has a certain sound. Yeah. I understand why people make those reference points, but in and of itself, it's a Napalm record. You know, like the previous 3 were. You know, a step forward, but it's a Napalm record, and it's only that, and there's nobody to blame for this per se, but we were just, although Napalm Death had been around for a while, as a new lineup, we were finding our feet, and we didn't really know, I guess, what we wanted, and so we kind of left it to Scott Burns, who was producing the album. Now, if you do that, the producer's going to do what he thinks is the sound that should be, but it wasn't what we were thinking. You know, we wanted a much more raw sound, you know, a much more spacious sound, I suppose. Yeah. But leaving Scott to what Scott thought was of course 2 different things. And that's why it sounds like it does. You know, I don't like the sound on that album. And I'm not blaming anybody for that. I'm not blaming Scott for that. I don't think it's a bad sound. I just don't think it's a Napalm sound, you know, and I've always said that, you know, and I still believe that, you know, to this day, you know, but the songs in and of themselves are pretty good, I would say, you know.
Yeah, I've listened to it again last night. It's great. But your thanks list is definitely the longest. I don't know if you remember writing the thanks list.
Yeah, which I'm surprised at, because Mickey was always the king of thanks list, you know.
Yeah. Yours is the longest,
Right, I'm surprised actually. You know,
I can't read it, mate. My eyes are so bad. But,
nah, mate, no.
I won't read it out. But yeah.
No. That was the thing back then. You always made the thanks list. The thanks list is always.
Yeah, but that was where you'd find out about other bands as well, right? So look at the thanks list and the T-shirt.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I mean, look at Mickey's on the Scum album. Fucking hell! I mean, it's like it names pretty much the global population, you know, in his thanks list on that album, you know. So
yeah, amazing. And then Utopia Banished was the next record. This is mid did the artwork.
See, mate, I you know. He did, yeah. So dear old Mid, you know, who I really love, you know, really great guy if anybody knows him, you know. So here's the thing, Harmony Corruption I like us now, but Utopia Banished, to me, everything came back into play on that album. Like the production is way more Napalm, I would say, you know. It's definitely a step forward in terms of the songs, I would say, but the production just really nails it down, you know, and I really love making that album. I mean, I like making Harmony Corruption too, but I really, you know, you get that feeling, you know, when you're making an album. When I did Utopia Banished, when we did Utopia Banished, I was like, fuck yeah, this is raging, you know. So it's really good, you know. And Mid's artwork, you know, Mid's artwork is fucking brilliant on that.
It is. So hang on a minute. So
mate, we should plug Deviated Instincts, actually, seen as Mid came into play, because
Deviated
band
Instinct
for me who back in the days.
This is some of my favourite artwork from this era. I mean, this is Mid as well, isn't it? The
that's Mid as well. Yeah,
I love this.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that also that 12-inch also was really, the sound is fucking immense on it. You know what I mean? You know, and
it
really
is.
good.
I think, and then the world keeps turning as well. It's another.
Well, actually, before we go on to that, let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story about Mass Appeal Madness. So, we recorded it in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And the AC/DC, the Young family, is very widespread. Actually, there are Youngs out there that you might not know are AC/DC Young. So, Fraser Young, one of the Young brothers at the studio in Birmingham, was recorded at his studio. And I remember there's a particular story. So we turned up like bright-eyed to record, like on the first day, and like it turned out like Fraser Young might have been drinking the night before, and he was completely hungover. And we knocked on the door, and he threw a fucking snare drum out the window at us. It's too fucking early, you know what I mean? Yeah, and we were like, oh shit, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's Fraser Young's studio.
Who is Fraser Young? He's one of the
young brothers. You know, either a cousin, one of Angus.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I've been playing all these records. So Jesse was sort of living in Birmingham. Did he moved over from the
Jesse and Mitch? Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is that you gotta hand it to both Jesse and Mitch. I mean, basically, when we started doing Napalm, mate, there wasn't a pot to piss in. You know, I mean, we were fucking broke. You know, and these guys, they moved just on a whim. They literally moved within a couple of weeks of knowing that they were going to play with Napalm. You know, they literally moved. They put everything on the line, you know, to do it. And hats off to them for doing it. You know, it wasn't like me, although I was fucking broke, you know, but it wasn't like me living in Birmingham anyway. So I was going to be where I was going to be anyway, you know. So
they just dropped everything and moved over to Birmingham.
They dropped everything and moved, you know. It was fucking tough, man. You know, it really was. You know, I'm not trying to cry about it, but it was fucking hard, man. You know, the adage I've used many times, I was living on peanut butter on toast for like fucking 2-3 years or something like that. It was pretty brutal, man, you know.
But I've heard sort of stories about them hanging about in Edwards number 8 in Birmingham. Yeah,
we were always around and about town, you know. Those guys certainly, Mitch, Shane, Jesse, they were fucking everywhere and anywhere and everywhere, you know. You know.
Yeah.
So
obviously all this stuff came out on Earache Records. Do you want to talk about Earache Records?
Yeah, I don't mind. You know, I mean, here's the thing. So our struggles with Earache have been very heavily documented over the years, and there was good reason. You know, certainly they will have their own view on it. We had our own view on it as well. You know, and it got pretty weird at times. You know, but in the last few years, we've done a couple of collaborations here and there, you know, like the Glastonbury thing was really.
I was going to ask you about that actually. Yeah.
So and you know, we've learned to be able to communicate with each other again on a friendly level, and I have to say that feeling, and that would apply to any situation. That feeling is actually really positive. You know, you know, when you can accept your differences and put them aside and work together again. Obviously, we're not going to sign to the label again. There's no need for us to do that, you know. But when you can do that, I would suggest that's a positive thing, you know. And you got to move on sometimes, you know.
I'm happy to hear that. I sort of didn't. Yeah, after seeing that Glastonbury thing, it sort of got me thinking, you know, if you.
Yeah, you know, I hadn't spoken to Digby. I'd spoken to Digby for years, and I know there's a lot of people out there who have a lot of issues, you know, with Digby and Earache, you know. But you know what? Just stand in a field with that guy and shake his hand and have a laugh for 5 minutes.
That must have been nice. Must have been nice.
It was nice. I'm not going to say otherwise. You know, it was nice. You know,
but you sort of can't deny whatever the sort of was going on in the back. You can't deny the importance of, you know, what he did.
Oh, absolutely. You know, but I will also say though, with the assistance of people in and around, you know, with the assistance of Mickey, of Shane, of Calv probably, and all the different people, you know, they also helped him, you know. So I think that's also should be said. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, without Earache doing the flexes originally, you know, and going out on a limb, then things might be different. You know, they probably would be. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, yeah. So I've got to sort of ask you about plans for the future, but next year.
Well, I mean, like anybody else's plans, kind of a little bit hazy right now, you know. But I was speaking about, like, with the MAD guys who book us, you know, the punk hardcore agency in Germany, who also manage us as well. We were talking about it yesterday. We got some stuff for South America, possibly. It's only penciled in right now. And actually, the whole idea was, if it comes to next year, is to do what we were going to do this year. Like me and Shane were like, yeah, well, we need to finish in Japan because we want to stay. Like, I know Barney wants to stay in Japan for a bit, and so do I. So yeah, I mean, that's the plan. Hopefully to finish in Japan, because mate, assuming next year goes a lot better than this year, then we'll be seeing each other, you know, next year.
So. I was actually feeling a bit positive, but I don't know if you've seen the news today but Tokyo just suddenly like doubled its like numbers in overnight.
It's happening all over the world though.
I know.
But I think that with these vaccines coming next year, I think it's going to be a different state of play. I think people have been a bit ahead of themselves. They're saying, oh yeah, April, May, June. I don't think that's going to, because put it like this, the UK having a National Health Service is vaccinating people right now.
Are they really?
But it's the elderly and the particularly vulnerable that are being done right now. It's a staged thing. So people like me, healthy, in the 50s, I'm not going to get it realistically till you could say July at the earliest, probably. So how that then plays out with doing gigs a little bit later on, who can say? But you know what, mate? Just on a wish, if I can be in Japan next December, and I've got my burning spirits fucking reminder thing on, you know, and all the rest of it, then that's where I'll be. You know, if Napalm can play in Japan at the end of next year, fucking brilliant. You know what I mean? In December, I can't think of anything better in life than doing a Japanese tour in December and then fucking hanging around in Japan at the mate. That's my life can finish then for me. You know, if I can do that stuff.
And just a little request from me is to do the sort of the the hardcore punk support band as well again, like, you know.
Oh mate, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
That was so good to see that, you know, like,
mate, I want to, you know, that's what I'm all about, you know, for my whatever my opinion counts in Napalm Death, and you know, and Shane's also, that's what we want to do, you know. I of course you're always open about music and stuff, but I love Japanese hardcore, and we want to do our best to push it, you know, to advocate, because it's not a dead thing, you know. It's still there.
People, that's it. That's a good point, actually, Barney. Because people, I mean, obviously, you know, the 80s and all that, amazing, but it's still, there's still a big scene with younger bands as well, you know. And like,
absolutely, and I absolutely, you know, when a band like Napalm can do very good things, you know, in terms of putting these bands in the not in the spotlight, that's the wrong way to put it, but you know, giving them space on the bills that we play, you know.
It just makes perfect sense to me for you two playing with Systematic Death. And
absolutely, you know, I feel a connection with that stuff. I mean, it goes without saying, you know, so we should. And I want, it's not only that we should, it's that I actually want to. I get a kick out of it, you know. So
yeah. I was going to actually say this to you sort of off camera, but I'll say it now anyway. So after the last two chats, so a lot of people sort of watched the video and everything. And like, I got so many messages sort of saying how inspired they were about sort of some of the stuff.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice of people to say, man.
I mean, a lot of people sort of more like, you know, hardcore punks, you know, maybe they've not followed Napalm for a while, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
and they were sort of really sort of almost touched in a way that you were sort of talking about this stuff. Like, you know, just
mate, you know, the thing is it's always been there. It's never not been there. You know what I mean? It's just that obviously people sometimes switch off a little bit when times change or something. And I get that 100%. You know what I mean? But you know, that's really I love all kinds of stuff. We've talked about a diverse range of stuff whilst we over these last few interviews. But in terms of the chaotic, off the rails side of music, punk and hardcore, that's my first love. You know, in terms of what influences me most in Napalm on the bass level, it's hardcore punk. You know, because that's where the vibrancy comes from. That's where the I guess for want of a better phrase, the non-conformist side of the manner in which you deliver the music, you know what I mean? The music side of things, you know.
You can feel it. You can feel it.
Yeah.
I'm on the new record as well. You can feel that spirit in there.
And the thing is, I've always said to myself, if Napalm loses that edge, then it won't be Napalm anymore. Right. You know, it won't. It has to be there for me. You know, that's part of what gives me just that feeling. You know what I mean? You know, it's just like,
I mean, anyone that's seen pictures of you on stage with, like, you know, a Mob 47 t-shirt or a Systematic Death t-shirt, you'd have already sort of known that.
Right, that's it, on that side of things. I'm not talking about the experiment, the stuff that we also work into the band, but the straight ahead Fast and Furious stuff, it's that stuff that drives me, you know. Yeah, of course, some metal, some death metal and stuff, but first and foremost, when I think, how am I going to deliver a Napalm lyric or something like that, it's SOB, it's Systematic Death, it's Anti-Cymex, you know, it's Septic Death, it's Auto, you know, it's Gizm, it's that is first and foremost in my mind.
I can totally feel it in the
100%, you know.
So I was really happy to see that. You know, people who've maybe, you know, for whatever reason they might have stopped buying records at a certain point.
I get it.
They totally reconnected after seeing our chats and were like, oh,
that's nice, man.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that was good, you know.
Yeah, sure. Very nice. It's very nice. Yeah, and I appreciate, you know, from everybody that might be watching, that's really kind. Man,
I mean, my channel's tiny, you know, we're not talking like huge amounts of people, but I've gotten a lot of really sort of nice comments.
Yeah, mate, it all counts at the end of the day. You know, I often see it like this, you know, back in the day when we were trading tapes and stuff, you were trying your best to get these bands out there because the exposure was very limited. And now podcasts and these kind of things are of the time, you know. And the thing is, I see, like, yours is a small channel, but in much the same way as we're trading tapes, if we can get it out there and the kind of things we're talking about is exposing a smaller slice of the music scene to more people, then that's a good thing. You know, I also
sort of feel like we've touched on a lot of stuff that maybe hasn't been touched upon by sort of other journalists.
Maybe so. Although more so, you know, because since I've down the years, since I've always, you know, you talk about, I mean, it's a symbolic thing, I suppose, but, you know, anti-Cymex t-shirts, you know, fucking this and that and all the rest of it. People do get curious. They're like, what is that? You know, they'll ask questions, and then it starts to, so I get actually more interviewers in the non-punk side of things asking about that stuff now. Asking about that stuff. They're like, what is that? You know, what is Swans? And, you know, what is, you know, all this different stuff, you know, that's a good thing, you know, because, like, you know, for many, many years, I think punk and hardcore was kind of left in the corner a little bit, and it was doing some amazing songwriters, actually. Just because it's noisy and chaotic doesn't mean it's not a good song, you know what I mean? That doesn't preclude it, you know, from being a good song, you know. And I was just, you know, you feel like you want to promote good music, you know, and that's what it is at the end of the day. It's fucking good music, you know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, mate. We should probably leave some stuff to talk about for part 4.
Yeah. Yeah, mate.
You're into it,
mate. You know, I'm always, mate. I could talk the hind legs off a fucking donkey. You know what I mean?
It's so funny though, because I sort of had this image that we'd sort of talk about harmony, corruption, and for like 45 minutes, but we've got so much to talk about. It's so,
mate. I always say let conversations flow where they're going to flow.
You know, I want it to be like we're in the pub having a pint talking about anti-assignment.
Sure.
You know, that's how I want it to be. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mate, yeah, let's definitely do something in the new year. Well, I mean, now obviously people are listening, so we'll leave it a little bit, because I think sometimes when if you do stuff too close together, people can get a little bit bored, you know, because it's the same people, you know, speaking of, you know, even though we make it colourful, hopefully, you know. But we'll give it 100%. We'll definitely do something, you know, because there's going to be some stuff come up in the outside world from between now and then that we can talk about, you know.
All right, mate.
Plus, I'm dying for a piss as well.
Actually, me too.
But mate, I'm fucking jealous anyway. All the things that we could talk about, I'm jealous that you are where you are and I'm not. And mate, I would love to be there. I mean, fucking, I really would. You know how much I love Japan. I know. You know how fucking, when I'm there, I will spend 6, 7, 8 weeks there. You know, living on rice balls. You know, for 8 weeks, and I just love it. I miss it so much, man. You know, I can't even tell you.
It'll happen, mate.
Yeah.
This time next year is sort of realistic, isn't it? I think.
Probably. Yeah, I reckon so. I reckon it's probably
Not too long.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Lovely stuff, mate.
Lovely stuff.
Yeah. Know what I mean? Yeah.
I haven't talked to you since after I talked to Lou.
Lou told me about it, actually. God, we were laughing.
Oh, God, he just crapped right off the bat. He sort of went into it. It was like,
he does terrible impressions of me.
It was the Dick Van Dyke.
Dick Van Dyke style. Yeah.
He just right off the bat, he went straight into it, which was just the best icebreaker. After that, it was just...
You know, and here's the thing, another thing I want to say, mate, just before we wrap it up, going back to the whole thing about hardcore and how people have been surprised. You know what, mate, that I have to say that the hardcore scene as well gave me, back in the day and to this day, some of the closest kinships and friendships, you know, that I will ever have in my life, you know, and you can't, that's no small thing. You only live for a finite time on earth, you know, and there's a lot to be said for that. You know what I mean?
You know what, mate? I've been sort of through doing this in this pandemic. I've reconnected with so many people, and those friendships really sort of stay. And all the memories.
They will endure for life. You know, they will. You know, so.
You realise sort of how important they are.
And we're likewise with us. You know, we kind of met through Randy, but I like to think that we struck up a friendship. You know, so.
Absolutely. Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
All right.
You can always stay at my house, mate. As long as you don't bring Gab around and he'll piss in the corner or something.
Actually, I was going to ask you if you managed to get to the pub, that pub I was talking about. Have you gotten down there?
No, because of the pandemic. It's a little bit out in the wilds of Sussex, and I think it's too small a space, I think, to really go over there right now. But I'm definitely going to. I looked it up and it looks great, actually. So,
there's another thing I've got going on again, but after I looked it up, I realised that an old mate of mine, Simon Gain, from Bath, he did stuff for Profane Existence. He designed some of the labels for those beers. A small world again.
You know there you go. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, mate, it is a small world.
Yeah, we're really going to sign. Barney wants a piss. I want a piss.
Mate, I'm absolutely gagging for a piss. I don't mind telling everybody, you know.
All right. Until next time, stay healthy.
All right, mate. All the best.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you. See you later. Yeah.